This
Today,
call is being recorded.
to this wonderful call that we're having today, we're having a special guest at this point here. I'll take the time to introduce to you and to present to others none other than a coach who has more than 28 years of experience. He's a legend, the brain of Uplift. He is more than a seven figures earner, and he has been given a mandate to help 200,000 families to earn a six figures income so all of us can be financially free. Without any further ado, here now is our coach, Pastor Kenny Smith, known as Coach 100K. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Pastor Ellis. We do love you. How are you?
Well, doing well. Thank you, Coach. Blessings.
Thank you, thank you. Well, good morning, Uplift. Hey, this is Pastor Kenny Smith, Coach 100K, helping you make six figures in this industry, guys. And I want to get out of the way, but I want to tell you, I'm excited because good things are in our future. And I want to use an old song I used to sing a long time ago. It was Oral Roberts used to say, something good is going to happen to you this very day. Something good going to happen to you because Jesus of Nazareth is passing our way. I want to say to you, guys, expect for the good. Expect good today. This is the day the Lord's made. Somebody will be happy about it. And don't look for the bad. Look for the good. It will attract itself to you. All right? So I'm going to get out of the way here this morning. I want to make sure that we give our speaker all the time we possibly can and empower you to be six-figure earners in multiple ways. So with that being said, I'm going to turn the call over to our master international trainer, our breakthrough specialist, Dr. Breakthrough, better known as Dr. Breakthrough from Stan Harris. Glory to God. It's breakthrough time. It was sharp.
Coach 100K, man, you have just an incredible heart, incredible passion, incredible drive, and this Uplift team is off the chart. And I'm telling you, my friend, you have positioned yourself to prosper like none other. Well, again, we've got a special guest, so I need everybody quickly take out your phone, text somebody, do a quick Facebook post, because you do not want to miss this anointed call. This is going to be Mr. John Austin, the CEO. Now listen carefully. This man is a very humble man. I couldn't believe it when he went in his own back office and signed up for the 21-day breakthrough challenge. I was like, wow. I mean, the guy, it's just incredible. And he's got a heart for people, and he developed something. Again, I call it the International Kingdom-Based Discounted Buyers Club, where he takes the best of 5 business systems. For instance, if you like network marketing, you'll love this. But if you don't like network marketing, as a matter of fact, if you hate network marketing, you'll really love this new concept of 5 business systems with an S put together in a synergistic blend. Systems stands for save yourself time, energy, money, stress. So if you know anybody wants to save themselves time, energy, money, stress, they definitely want to get involved with this new powerful concept. Because, again, he's taken the best of internet marketing and left out the bad, the best of affiliate marketing, left out the bad, the best of relationship marketing, the best of network marketing, and the best of franchising, put them all together, my friend, and created something I'm telling you could change your life. So it's really simple. Bill Gates said it best. He said, if you want to have success, super success, I call it breakthrough success, he said 3 simple things. You got to have a vision for the future of an industry. And folks, people want to be consumerpreneurs. We've already been programmed to be consumers, but now we can consume products and services, but this time with the intent of producing a profit. John Austin created just such a thing. Number 2, Bill Gates said, not just have a vision for the future of an industry, which, by the way, there'll be millions, and I believe the day will come when there'll be billions of members to Shop Free Mart. And you want to be able to have that vision. Number 2, he said, be in the right place at the right time. And that's where you are. And number 3, he said, take immediate and massive action. So I want you to do that. And so the next voice you hear are going to be the visionary, the man that, again, humbled himself under the mighty arm of God to allow God to use him to bring forth this incredible concept and company. You're going to hear gladly Mr. John Austin. Hey, John, take it away, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Stan. Let me first say this information is for educational purposes. You need to do your own research, and you may want to consult a physician, but by the same token, most physicians really don't know what's going on with what we're talking about today. and that's iodine. They're not taught about it in medical school. It was well known, obviously, many years ago. We'll touch on that briefly. But of all the elements essential for human health, iodine is the least understood and the most feared. Yet, iodine is the safest of all the essential trace elements, and it's the only one that can be administered safely in high doses for long periods of time. That's as long as as one understands how to adapt the dosage to his or her needs. Every individual is unique and will therefore require different amounts. According to the Bible, people historically lived to be hundreds of years old prior to the flood, but immediately thereafter, life expectancy was cut to less than 100 years in most cases. Could the secret lie in the fact that iodine and other trace minerals were washed out of the soil by the flood? Iodine is perhaps the easiest mineral to wash out of the soil. Some scientists have postulated that the flood of Noah washed most of the iodine out of our soil, and what little that remained has since been washed out by rain and irrigation. Dr. Brownstein, author of Iodine, Why You Need It and Why You Can't Live Without It, along with other doctors, tested over 6,000 patients and found approximately 96% were iodine deficient. These figures are also consistent with the results of other researchers, Dr. George Fletchis and Charles Hakala, in their worldwide iodine tests. Iodine deficiency increases the risk of cretinism, a form of dwarfism, mental impairment, retardation, and reduced intellectual ability, goiter, deafness, infertility, ADHD, sudden death syndrome in infants, multiple sclerosis, myelin disorders, and perhaps all forms of cancer. Studies show that iodine deficiency is the leading preventable cause of mental disorders. Even moderate deficiency lowers intelligence by 10 to 15 IQ points. Adding sufficient iodine to your diet has also been shown to increase IQ by 10 to 15 points. Iodine deficiency is a significant public health problem in 129 countries. Iodine deficiency is the world's greatest cause of preventable mental retardation, and that comes from the World Health Organization. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey did a study from 1970 to 2012. They reported that iodine levels dropped by 50% over a period of 42 years. They also reported that moderate to severe iodine deficiency increased by more than 450% from 1970 to the year 2000. Iodine has successfully been used to treat the following list of illnesses, which should indicate the pandemic nature of iodine deficiency: ADD, ADHD, allergies, atherosclerosis, autoimmune disorders, bacterial overgrowth, brain fog, breast diseases including cancer, breast pain, bronchitis and pneumonia, cancers, coughs, chronic fatigue, constipation, depression, Dupuytren's contracture, which causes the fingers to be permanently bent, eczema, excessive mucus, eye problems, GERD, fibrocystic breasts, fibromyalgia, fibroids, gastroparesis, genitourinary diseases, goiter, gum infection, hair thinning, headaches and migraines, heart arrhythmias, heavy metal poisoning like mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium, hemorrhoids, high cholesterol, hypertension, hypothyroidism, infections, kidney disorder, keloids, liver diseases, malaria. They've had cases where malaria was actually cured in 48 hours using iodine. Menstrual irregularities, mental retardation, mucus, multiple sclerosis, obesity, ovarian disease and ovarian cancer, parasites, parotid duct stones. That's where calcium stones form in the saliva ducts. Peyronie's disease. This is fibrous scar tissue that causes deformations. prostate disorders and prostate cancer, psoriasis, restless leg syndrome, rheumatism, arthritis, scarlet fever, sebaceous cysts, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, stomach pain, syphilis, thyroid disorders including cancer, tonsillitis, type 2 diabetes, uterine fibroids and uterine cancer, vaginal infections, etc., etc. So, if you suffer from any of the foregoing symptoms, it could indicate that you have an iodine deficiency. So the question remains, is iodine a silver bullet against disease that has been purposely obscured to enrich the so-called healthcare industry? And I believe it is. At one time, iodine was the remedy of choice in every hospital, every doctor's office, and every home medicine cabinet. Today, the only place that iodine is frequently used to treat disease is in veterinary clinics. And why do you suppose that is? Because animals have to be cured quickly and inexpensively, otherwise a pound of hamburger would cost you $60. According to Lynn Farrell, author of Iodine Crisis, iodine was the first treatment of choice for tumors and aggressive diseases of obscure origin during the 19th century. Farrell and Brownstein both tell us that the amount of iodine in salt is far too low and that less than 10% of the iodine in salt gets absorbed by the body. Furthermore, many people today avoid refined salts due to their doctors saying it's bad for cardiovascular health. Give me 1 second. The RDA given for iodine is 150 micrograms, which equals 0.15 milligrams. This amount may be able to prevent goiter, but it certainly is not enough to provide iodine for 37.2 trillion cells outside of the thyroid that all need iodine to function properly. So where can we get the iodine needed by 37-some trillion cells in our bodies? Seafood was once a good source of iodine, but much of the world's marine life has been contaminated as a result of nuclear disasters of Fukushima, 3 Mile Island, and Chernobyl, not to mention radiation fallout from 2,053 nuclear explosions conducted from the 1940s to the 1990s, and depleted uranium munitions illegally used in recent American wars. Radioactive iodine is a problem because it kills the thyroid gland, and people who are deficient in iodine readily absorb iodine from the environment. So when a radioactive cloud passes by, radioactive iodine is sucked up in the thyroid gland to fill up its iodine stores. The CDC website recommends potassium iodide for radiation poisoning. The FDA recommends taking potassium iodide, which is the most readily available form of iodine, in case of contamination or likely contamination of radioactive iodine. Newborns are recommended to take, newborns to 1 month of age should be given 16 milligrams, which is 106 times the RDA for adults. Children from 1 month to 3 months of age should take 32 milligrams, which is 213 times the adult RDA. Children between 3 and 18 years of age should take 65 milligrams, which is 433 times the adult RDA. And adults and children weighing 150 pounds or greater should take 130 milligrams, and that's 866 times the adult RDA for iodine. A single dose will only protect the thyroid gland for about 24 hours, so long-term exposure could require additional doses every 24 hours. Hopefully you would have already been taking adequate amounts of iodine from safe sources prior to an emergency to protect your thyroid against radioactive iodine. Generally speaking, there are 2 different forms of iodine, iodide and elemental iodine. Elemental iodine, like Shop Free Mart Puredyne, can be absorbed and utilized directly by the cells. However, iodine or iodide is a compound that's created by combining iodine with salt, such as potassium. Iodides require a transport molecule called the sodium iodide symporter, or NIS, to get into the cells. Once iodide gets into the cell, it undergoes two important processes: oxidation and organification. Iodide must be converted to iodine in order to be utilized by the body, and oxidation effectively does that. The process of oxidation requires hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, thyroperoxidase, TPO, and NADPH, activated by calcium and inhibited by delta iodolactone. If production of hydrogen peroxide in the body is insufficient to oxidize the iodide, high doses of potassium iodide can be dangerous and can lead to damage of the thyroid tissue and to a hyperthyroid condition called Hashimoto's disease. The mineral that's crucial to the process of oxidation is selenium, another trace element most people are deficient in. Shop Fremart Puridine is pure nascent or elemental iodine. It has no need of being symported into the cells and no need to be oxidized to be converted into iodine. Elemental iodine can be used by the cells without any other chemical reactions necessary. The next step in the utilization of iodine is called organification, which means that iodine becomes part of cholesterol, fats, and proteins, and it takes about 100 times the RDA of iodine to produce proteins like delta iodolactone, which regulates cell death called apoptosis and cellular growth, both of which are implicated in the formation of cancer. Excuse me. Iodolactone also keeps hydrogen peroxide in check. This is a critical factor because too much H2O2 damages tissues and causes an immune response like Hashimoto's or Graves' disease. Organification is dose dependent. RDA of 150 micrograms of iodine is barely enough to prevent goiter. 100 times the RDA, or 15 milligrams of iodine, is required daily to make iodolipids, delta iodolactone, needed for cell apoptosis and for the regulation of H2O2. 12 to 50 milligrams of iodine daily is sufficient for a vast majority of adults, but according to Dr. Brownstein, you can take up to 100 milligrams a day. Iodine belongs to a group of chemicals on the periodic scale called halogens or halides, which includes fluorine, chlorine, astatine, and bromine. All halides have a similar chemical structure and compete with iodine for binding and absorption into the iodine receptor sites. In the 1960s, flour and milk were both fortified with iodine, which had a positive effect upon human health. But 10 years later, iodine was removed from both flour and milk, and bromine was added to flour to replace the iodine. This was the greatest health blunder, one of the greatest health blunders of all time, or was it? By 1970, those who owned and controlled Big Pharma were also in control of the FDA and the AMA. They obviously knew that the body will substitute bromine for iodine to make T4 hormone when iodine is deficient. Furthermore, brominated T4 is fake and cannot be used by the thyroid, which means that you can still be hypothyroid even if T4 tests can show that you have plenty of T4 hormone. Follow the money. Bromine is an endocrine disruptor, and bromine toxification is associated with delirium, psychomotor problems, retardation, schizophrenia, and hallucinations. Ingesting bromine can make you feel dull, apathetic, and make concentrating very difficult. Bromide can also cause severe depression, headaches, and irritability. These symptoms can be present even with low levels of bromine in the diet. Bromine is found in flour products including bread, pasta, bakery goods, carbonated drinks, juice drinks, processed foods, medications, tap water, swimming pools, hot tubs, plastics, upholstery, carpets, fire retardants, and a whole lot more. A hot car in the summertime is off-gassing bromine, and doors and windows should be open for a few minutes before getting inside to allow the bromine to dissipate. Chlorine is another dangerous halide with broad exposure due to it being used to disinfect tap water, sewage, and industrial waste. It's used in the production of paper and cloth as a bleaching agent. It's used in cleaning products, including household bleach. Chlorine is also used in the preparation of chlorides, solvents, pesticides, polymers, synthetic rubbers, and refrigerants. When chlorine enters the body as a result of breathing, swallowing, or skin contact, it produces acids in the body which are corrosive and which damage your cells on contact. Excuse me. Furthermore, chlorine blocks the uptake of iodine in the body. Fluoride is another halide that's prescribed as a medicine to prevent tooth decay. Among other things, fluoride blocks iodine from getting into receptor sites of your brain cells. It increases the absorption of lead. It disrupts the synthesis of collagen, reduces thyroid function. Many things. It promotes cancers, damages sperm and causes infertility, causes hyperactivity, lethargy, muscle disorders, thyroid disease, arthritis, dementia, bone fractures, bone cancer, immune system dysfunction, etc. The good news is that iodine supplementation in the proper amounts increases urinary excretion of halides such as fluoride, bromide, and chlorine derivatives, as well as heavy metals such as cadmium, aluminum, lead, and mercury. Cancer is a result of mutated cells. Iodine is critical for the p53 gene, which prevents damaged cells from dividing. Iodine and selenium helps p53 do its job of eliminating abnormal cells. Cancer patients have used 50 to 300 milligrams of iodine per day successfully. Dr. D. Maria says iodine is not just for the thyroid gland, it's for breast tissue and ovaries in women and testicles in men. It turns off the gene that promotes cancer. Apoptosis is limited cell life. Iodine keeps cancer cells in check. Dr. Edward Group, another iodine expert, says that women who take 3 to 4 milligrams a day of iodine for a period of 3 to 4 months may experience fibrocystic changes, including seeing breast cancer disappear. He goes on to say that if people have sufficient levels of iodine inside of their body, that they're never likely to get heart disease, cancer, diabetes, thyroid dysfunction, infertility, polycystic ovaries, or breast disease, because these are all linked to iodine deficiency. Dr. Brownstein explains that all of the glands of the body depend on adequate iodine levels to function optimally. Dr. Fletcher says all hormone receptors are dependent on iodine, which increases the sensitivity of the receptor to the hormone it is designed for. For example, it can increase the sensitivity of insulin receptors and thus help with diabetes. Similarly, it can increase the sensitivity of the receptors for neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine and GABA in the brain. Thus, depression may lift after taking iodine. It can also increase the sensitivity of receptors for testosterone and FSH and LH, which is why some people are cured of diabetes by taking iodine supplements, and also why iodine cures low libido and hypothyroidism. That's some powerful news, isn't it? Iodine deficiency leads to an imbalanced hormonal system. In fact, a balanced hormonal system is impossible without adequate intake of iodine. Iodine deficiency leads to cystic tissue, which is fluid-filled, then from there to nodular or firm, to hyperplasia, and then to cancer. It generally takes 3 to 6 months of iodine supplementation to improve or reverse cysts, nodules, or disrupted glandular tissue, and it may even take years in severe cases. Iodine is stored in the salivary glands, the choroid plexus that produces cerebrospinal fluid, gastric mucosa, breasts, ovaries, prostate, and the ciliary body of the eye, which controls the shape of the lens. So it's going to affect your eyesight as well. It's also concentrated in the substantia nigra, the area of the brain most associated with Parkinson's disease. One of the world's leading iodine experts, Dr. Guy Abraham, suggests a daily value of 13 milligrams of iodine. Other doctors are recommending as much as 30 to 50 milligrams of iodine for their patients. In order to function, the thyroid gland itself needs approximately 6 milligrams of iodine per day. The breasts need at least 5 milligrams, which leaves only 2 milligrams of iodine for the entire rest of the body if you're taking 13 milligrams daily. Of course, that's a far cry from the 150 micrograms or 0.15 milligrams recommended by the medical establishment. Women who have fibrocystic breast disease repeatedly have told me, this is Dr. Fletches, he said that women have repeatedly told him that when they take iodine to get rid of the fibrocystic breast pain, the muscle pain or fibromyalgia disappears also. So definitely iodine's implicated in both of those areas. In fact, anything to do with cystic diseases is all an iodine deficiency. A lot more we could cover here, but very briefly, is there a condition where iodine is actually dangerous? Dr. Brownstein says yes, but it's extremely rare. He says he was taught in medical school that iodine therapy causes hyperthyroidism, especially in patients suffering from Graves' or Hashimoto's disease. He says that young doctors in training are still taught this today, but in over 12 years of practice, him and his partners treated over 6,000 patients with iodine, and less than 10 of them became hyperthyroid. He says typically hyperthyroidism is determined by a particular test, but more often than not, it's discovered when they give an iodine therapy, and the patient becomes hyperthyroid after taking the first couple of doses. He asks, how do you treat a patient with a hot thyroid nodule, and that would be the hyperthyroidism. These patients must avoid iodine supplements until they have the nodule surgically removed. The single weight loss, the single biggest cause of obesity in the world today is lack of iodine. If you've tried everything else and it didn't work, iodine can help you get the weight off. So the suggested iodine usage, just want to mention that the cost of iodine is so low that money is seldom the issue. Take enough iodine to supply the needs of all your cells. As mentioned above, the RDA is barely enough to prevent goiter. Adults need from 12 to 50 milligrams per day. However, start with 1 drop daily and gradually work up to the optimum dose, because iodine is going to begin pulling toxins like bromide, fluoride, chlorine out of your cells. Children's doses should be adjusted according to age and weight. I have come across some information, kind of interesting, where 12 to 50 milligrams, starting right off with that amount, would probably make you very, very ill because of the bromide coming out of your cells. I've seen where immediately starting on 100 milligrams a day, they're saying that doesn't happen. I haven't tried that. That's just some of the research I've come across. But what I would recommend is start out with 1 drop, increase probably by 1 drop every 3 days until you reach an optimum dosage where you're feeling all the energy that you need and you'll know. So what are the types of iodine? Nascent iodine is the preferred form. This form of iodine holds an electromagnetic charge that releases a large amount of energy when consumed. Okay, one of the things that causes disease is the fact that our cellular electricity gets so low that cells cannot regenerate. You need a negative 50 something of electricity in order for cells to regenerate. And so taking iodine, the nascent iodine, is going to greatly increase your cellular voltage. Pure nascent iodine found in shop Fremar Puridine is really the preferred kind of iodine. Kelp is a plant-based form of iodine. Again, because of the contamination, hazardous chemicals in the ocean like bromine, arsenic, mercury, radioactive iodine, you want to be very careful about your source of kelp if you're taking that form. Also, because kelp is a plant-based form of iodine, the rate at which it absorbs is dependent on how well it's digested. Potassium iodine, this form of iodine comes in a tablet form. Actually, there is a liquid form as well. It's an inorganic form of iodine. This form of iodine cannot be used by the body without the help of the sodium iodide symporter, which transports iodide into the thyroid. A deficiency of NIS when taking potassium iodide again can lead to damage of the thyroid tissue and a condition called Hashimoto's disease. So, again, do your research, folks. Each drop of Shop Fremar Puridine contains 1.8 milligrams of nascent iodine. There's a chart in our website. It'll show you how many drops you need to take for a particular, to equal the dose that you may be trying to reach. Everyone needs different amounts of iodine based on their body's ability to use iodine and the level of exposure they have to fluoride, chlorine, and other halides. Natural health practitioners once thought that 25 milligrams of iodine per day was good for maintenance, but recent information on exposure, we have daily to toxic load from bromines, fluorides, and chlorine. We're now requiring higher doses. Some natural health doctors are now recommending a minimum of 50 milligrams of iodine per day. So again, you want to start with a single drop of Shop Fremar Puridine, probably with your breakfast, and build up by one drop every 3 days until a balance of general well-being is achieved. Starting with the lowest dose and building up while detox reactions are managed is the reasonable thing to do. I would suggest not taking Puridine after 4 p.m. as it may energize you and cause insomnia if taken too late. You want to be sure and drink plenty of water with hydration drops to help remove toxins. Also, you want to be sure to be taking at least 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of unrefined salt daily to help chloride helps to inhibit the toxic effect of bromide. And that's about all I have. I'll turn it back to you, Dr. Breakthrough.
Wow. That's incredible. Matter of fact, I'm glad I noticed in the back office it was up to Puridine. I ordered it already. Matter of fact, while you were talking, Ty Grayell, one of our global ambassadors, said he ordered right while you were talking. It was so powerful. By the way, if there's a little number, folks, that you can dial. Here's a number, 818-309-2467. That's a sizzle call that mentions Puridine. 818-309-2467. Again, 818-309-2467. And John, what's so powerful, as you mentioned, sir, is that one drop, folks, of Shop Fremar Puridine gives you 1,200% of the adult daily value. And get this, there's nearly 1,200 drops in one 2-ounce bottle. So no company has ever given you literally a 3-year supply of a product in one bottle. So how affordable is that? You understand now why I call this an international kingdom-based discounted buyers club? Now, get this. Iodine is the most lacking mineral in populations all around the world. And our CEO, you just heard from John Alston, he said he had a dream where he saw this one product being used to help more people get their healing than any other product ever brought to market. And we know, again, we never treat or cure or heal anything, but when you give the body what the body needs, the body does what God designed it to do. In the Psalm 103, it says, who healeth all thy diseases. How does he do that? Through the immune system, when the body's in what we call homeostasis or proper balance. And so, John, thank you again for your dream, your passion, your obedience to God, and making this available. So, folks, you know we got the 21-day Breakthrough Challenge, which is nutrition for the mind, and you just heard about this powerful product, Iodine, which is nutrition for the body, and you need both. So we've got to close out. Folks, I wish we had more time, but listen, you've got to hear from Ty Grael. He wrote a little Don, this guy loves you so much, man. He loves the company so much, and he's a poet laureate. The guy travels all over the world. He's got books and everything else. You know what, my friend? He made global ambassador in record time and soon to be a crown ambassador. And what does that mean? In a nutshell, that means he's been helping a lot of people. Folks, money is nothing more than a way of keeping score of how many people's lives you added value to. How many people need iodine? Everybody. And John's company is going to reward you. They don't even have BV, business volume, though they got RV, reward. They're going to reward you for helping to share the message. And so, Ty Grael, can you come to the front of the call? I know you got a very, again, we scheduled this way over. I apologize. But, folks, you heard something today that's going to equip you to be able to change and enhance and empower so many people's lives. And you know my beautiful wife, Nadia, my ABCD, we say we're a covenant couple, building covenant relationships based on the covenant of promise, and we aspire to inspire breakthroughs even after we've expired. Ty Grael, take it away, my friend.
Well, I'm just grateful and happy to. I'm just grateful and happy to be here. Thank you, John, for everything that you've done. I know we're over time, so I'm just going to stick to the script and do what I was instructed to do, and that is share. Don't let the start stop you. I learned this in the 21-day Breakthrough Challenge, and anyone who's on the fence, don't let the start stop you. It's the start that stops most people. Don't let the start stop you. If you want to improve, then you have to move. Step up so you can break through. You see, fear is a road-blocking monster. It'll make you freeze in your tracks with procrastination as your destination. It'll cause you to hold yourself back. And a double mind is the workshop where pause and delay are teachers, where most lie in wait at that beautiful gate, but in waiting never get featured. So don't let the start stop you. It's time you answered the call. Quit robbing yourself of your inherent wealth. Cease building your own brick wall. Here now is an opportunity. This day, this minute, you start dreaming healthier dreams while building revenue streams. And join us at Shop Free Mart. And don't let the start stop you.
Wow. Coach 100K. All right, Coach, back to you, man. 100K, Pastor Kenny Smith.
All right, sharp. Oh,
sharp.
Hey, man, I'm excited. Hey, thank you, Dr. Grael. Grael. All right. Hey, thank you, man. And Dr. Breakthrough, thank you. And Dr. John Austin, appreciate you for the wisdom that is